Mabuhay! Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Muli ako si Jason T. Asuncion. Today, mayroon na naman tayong bagong tutorial na gagawin. At bago ang lahat, I want to greet all of our viewer and subscriber from South Africa, from Senegal to Morocco, ganun rin sa mga kababayan natin na nanonood sa Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. Thank you for subscribing and watching our YouTube channel. At ganun din sa mga kababayan natin na nanonood dito sa Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagtangkilik at pagsubaybay. Sa mga laging nagko-comment, nag-a-ask ng question o nagsasend ng mga message sa aking Facebook account. Maraming salamat. Kung kayo ay bago sa channel na ito at gusto nyo po akong makontak for question, I will try to answer your question to the best of my knowledge. But if I cannot answer your question, I will tell you directly that I can't answer the question. Or kung may gusto kong ipagawang program, custom program para sa inyong business, if you want to create a program, or you're having a business and you want to have a custom built program for that business, you can email me at my email address at judsummer99@yahoo.com. Or if you want to invite me on a seminar or symposium in your school, okay? Or you can also ask question or post your comment on my Twitter account, and that is teacher_Jason. And you can also add me on my Facebook account, which is judsummer99@yahoo.com. Or you can subscribe and post your comment and like our videos here on our YouTube channel, which is judsummer99@yahoo.com. We had a lot of videos in this channel, and those videos are arranged into playlist. Okay, so if you're watching our YouTube channel, you can view all of the videos regarding a specific topic. For example, Visual Basic, pwede nyo pong mapanood yan, lahat nakaayos lang sa isang playlist, no? So, kung first time yung manood ng aking YouTube videos regarding programming tutorials, marami na po tayo naka-upload, no? So, you can check the channel, judsummer99. Okay? Dahil 2015, okay, meron tayong mga bagong topic na i-discuss. Una lahat, I just want to clear some question here, no? As you can see, I'm using a Windows 8.1 operating system here, okay? So, I think this also answers the question if Visual Basic will run on newer operating system. Okay, because may mga taong nagtatanong, lalo mga pilosopo, nangihingi ng installer daw for Visual Basic for 64-bit operating system Windows 8. Sila yung mga tao na hindi pala nasusubukan pero tanong na sila ng tanong. Okay, ayaw nilang maniwala. Pero pag nagtanong sila, akala mo tama agad yung ginagawa nila, no? As you can see, this is a Windows 8.1 operating system, but I can still run and use Visual Basics on this computer. Okay, and we're going to look at it. So I'm going to check the requirements or the specs for this computer. As you can see, okay, I get Visual Basic here. This is Windows 8.1, and this is a 64-bit operating system. I only have 2 gigabytes of memory or RAM, and I'm using a Celeron processor, but I can still run Visual Basic. And I don't think this is good if you're using Visual Basic.net, no, or 2010 version. Medyo mahihirapan ka. The good thing with this is Visual Basic 6 can run on Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, and Windows 8 operating system. And I'm hoping na pag nilabas nila ang Windows 10, I'm hoping na magagamit pa rin natin ang Visual Basic on that. Kasi that is because of the compatibility thing that they added on Windows operating system. Okay, as you can see here, this is a Windows 8.1 and this is Visual Basic 6, and they have this option here, the troubleshoot compatibility. Okay, so even though you have a program that is created way back Windows Vista, okay, you can still install and run that program on Windows 8.1 operating system. Okay, so as you can see here, it doesn't matter kung yung installer mo ng Visual Basic 6 is old and you're using a Windows 8.1 64-bit operating system. It will still run, as you can see here. Okay, so I hope we already answered that question, no? By proving na it can. Pwede natin gawin. We can use Visual Basic 6 on a Windows 8.1 operating system. Okay, and to continue with that, our topic for today regarding Visual Basic is I'm going to share on how to create the navigation button, next, previews, first, and last in viewing records on your database. Okay, for example, you had a lot of data on your database and you want to view them one by one, and some people prepared that option. And you want to create a button like next previews to view the next data or next file, and by going back by using the previous button. Okay, we're going to create those button and code it so that we can have that form, the view records form. Okay, if this is your first time to view my videos, I rather advise you to watch some of my videos, especially those videos that has database connection, so that you can understand the way how I connect my Visual Basic 6 to my database. Okay, so on this instance, I'll be using a Microsoft Access database. Okay, this is my database. The name of my database is exam, and I have a table here. The name of my table is prelims. Inside that table, I have, let me try to go to design view. Okay. Okay, I have two field name here, ID and question. The data type for ID is auto number, and the data type for question is text. Okay, and I already added some data inside that table. As you can see here, I have 5 questions here. These data are the data that we're going to use mamaya, no, once we go forward and show you how the program works. So just to show you, I have 4 questions here. I mean 5 questions here. So let me try to close this one. If you're using a Microsoft Access 2007 or 2010, that's good. I mean, you can still create your table, your fields, the same way like what I did on this one. The only difference is once you save that database, be sure to save that database as MDB or 2003 version, no? Or Microsoft database. Because if you're using 2000 version and 2010 version of Microsoft Access, the extension is different. That is ACCDB. Okay, so let me close this one. So we already have our database. I already created that, and but we don't have the front end yet, which is the Visual Basic. Okay, so I have Visual Basic here. I'm going to open my Visual Basic. Okay, so what we have here is a form, a blank form. And if you're going to look at the Project Explorer here, I already have module and class. Again, if you're familiar with how I connected my database to my Visual Basic, okay, this is simple, okay. But to show you, I have module here, no? If you want to create module, all you need to do is to click on here and then select module. You will have a blank module, okay? I have a module here and I already encoded the codes, okay? This codes is to declare a variable that I'm going to use to connect my Visual Basic to the database, as well as to retrieve data from the table inside the database. So I have con, rx, and rxd. You're going to see those variable later, okay? And I also have a class module here, okay? And inside the class module is where I put in the codes or the connection string to connect to the database. Okay, this is how Visual Basic 6 is connected to my database. Okay, again, if you're not familiar with this one, try to view some of my videos. I already explained these things, and we're going to look at it. I'm going to just change this one. This is the name of the database. Again, the name of my database is exam, and the extension is MDB. Okay, so if you're using 2007 version, try to save that on 2003 version. And yes, you can do that. Okay? And kung gusto niyo ng copy ng code na to, if you want to have a copy of this code, you can post the screen right now and copy the code. Okay? So that's how we start here. I got a form, a blank form, a class module with my declaration of variables, and that is module, and I have a class module with my connection to the database. Okay? Sa form, on this form, I'm going to put two label. Okay, two label. Okay, we're going to put two label here. And I'm going to make it a little bigger. And I'm going to put 4 command buttons. Meron tayong two label at saka 4 command buttons. Okay, if you're going to look at it, my command buttons are uneven. Okay, they don't have the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all by clicking and dragging. I will go to format, okay, make same size both, as you can see, and to make the spacing, horizontal spacing equal, I just go in there to format, then horizontal spacing make equal, and there you go. And again, to make those buttons center in my form horizontally, so there you go. Okay, so on label 1, I'm going to go to caption, to the properties of that label 1. I'm going to erase what is written on that part and type in question. On label 2, I'm going to delete what is written on that part. Okay, this is where our data on the database will be written. Okay, we're going to retrieve the data from the database and we'll try to show it here. Okay, kukunin natin yung data sa database at papalabasin natin siya dito sa label 2. Okay, then sa command 1, on command 1, we're going to put this caption. Okay, first, once the user press this button, it will show the first data on the database. Okay, on command 2, this is previous. This will show the previous data that the user is trying to access or already access. Okay, on command 3, that's next. Okay, this will show what is the next data on the database. Okay, and on command 4, this will show the last data on the database. Okay, make it look a little better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these objects here and go to font, and because that is their the only property, I mean, not only, but that is one of the properties that they all have the same um, property. So all of those objects has the same font property. I'm going to change the font to Tahoma Baby 12. Okay, so there you go. We have this one. Okay, and again, we're going to use a connection, the ADO connection, to connect the Visual Basic to the database. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here at the toolbar and select components, and then we're going to put a check mark on Microsoft ADO Data Control 6.0. Put a check mark on the checkbox, click on apply, click on close, and see that we have a new object on our toolbar or toolbox, and we're going to click and drag that here on our form. We're not going to use it manually, but we're going to use this, I mean the code that this object has, because our connection will be ADO connection. Actually, we're going to use ADO DB connection, but what you're looking here is ADO DC. So the difference between ADO DC and ADO DB, there are a big difference between ADO DB and ADO DC, and I already explained that before on my videos. So please try to watch my video, especially if you're just learning Visual Basic 6. Okay, and okay, well we already have the front end here. We have two labels for command buttons. Okay, so what we want is once we run the program, um, at first when we run the program, it will automatically show the first question on the database. Okay, we're going to open just that to make sure what's the first question in the database. Okay, our first question in the database is what is the center of the solar system. So once we run the program, it will automatically shows it here. Okay, and then once we press the next button, it will show the next question until we go to the last question. Okay, so that's what we want to do in this on this topic. So I'm just going to change the form color here. So I'm going to click the form. We'll go to the back color properties and change this to there you go, this one. Okay. Okay. So let's start with the form first. So again, ang gusto natin, once the form is already loaded, the first question on the database will be shown here. Okay, will be shown on label 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to put codes inside the form load. So once the form is being loaded or already loaded, we are going to have the first question inside the label 2 caption. Okay, so first we need to connect to the database. Okay, although we already encoded the code on class module, okay, we need to call that. Okay, so typing here set connect to new class 1. This is as simple as calling what's inside the class module class 1. Remember, we have a class module and the name of the class module is class 1. So we already called that. So we're already connected to the database. So once we're connected to the database, we can access what is inside the database. So inside the database, we have a table, and the name of the table is prelims. So for us to be able to get the data inside that table, we need to access the table first. By accessing that, we're going to type in set rx is a variable. Remember, this was declared on the module so that all of the form can use the same variable rx, and we're going to set this as new ado db record set. Okay, and after that, we're going to use an SQL statement. This is to call a function or to call a function or to call your database, no? So we're already connected to the database, so we're going to retrieve files to the table inside the database. So this is what we're using an SQL statement. So I just said here rx.open. This will try to open, then select all from the name of our table, which is prelims. It will try to open um, the file, I mean the table prelims. This will try to open the table's prelims. So for us to be able to retrieve the data inside that table, which is prelims, we need to use this SQL statement. And once we already open the table, we can already retrieve the files inside the table. Then con again is a variable that we just declared earlier. This is for the connection to the database, and this 33 is how our Visual Basic 6 will access the database. Okay. To have a good explanation on this one, I already had it on my videos. Please try to watch some of my videos to have the explanation for the 3-3. Actually, it's already been there. So if you're going to look at this, this is IntelliSense for Visual Basic. So the 3 here means odd, luck, pessimistic. Okay, so just press enter after that. Okay, we already um, created a connection to the database and then to the table. So already have the table, so we can already access what's inside the table. So what we want to do is, once we open the form, the first question on the database or on our table, which is what is the center of the solar system, should be posted on label 2. So what we're going to do is, we're going to type in label 2 dot caption, okay, dot caption equals to rx, which is our variable for calling the table, and what we want is the data inside the table, and those data are being saved on a field. So we're going to access a data inside a field. So we're saying here we want to access the data inside the question field. So this is what we have. So lahat ng yung data na nasa question field will be shown sa label 2. So a good explanation for this one is, this is the this is where your data will be loaded, and this is where your data came from. Okay, so the label to that caption, this is your data will be loaded, and the second part is where your data came from. So this is the field and this is the object inside your Visual Basic. So once we have that, actually that's it. We already have that. We already loaded, already put in the commands to retrieve the data from your prelims table. Okay, just to make sure we are done with this, I'm going to first save the project on the same folder where my database was already saved. So I saved that database on exam folder. There you go. So this time, once I save the project, because this is the first time, it will try to save all of my objects, the class module, the module, and the form that I have, okay, as well as the project. So I already saved them in the same folder where my database is already saved, and I will try to run the program here. Once I run the program, pag tumakbo yung program, you're going to see the first question that we have on the database. It will be posted on label 2, and the first question is, what is the center of the solar system? So I'm going to click run. See that? So we already retrieved the first question on the database, on our database. So once we click the next button, okay, dapat the second question will be posted. Okay, so again, once we press the second button, the next button again, the next question again will be shown. Okay, that is what we want to do. And once we press the previous button, the previous question will be shown. If there's no previous question, it will show a message that, hey, this is the first question or something. Okay, so we're going to stop this program first so that we can encode what we have. So we already encoded what is needed to show, or already coded the commands to show the first data on the database once we run the program, or we run the form. And this time we're going to encode the commands to show the next question on the database by pressing this button here, the next button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click this button. Okay, so the command is rx dot move next. Okay, and then we're going to create or we're going to use the if statement, okay, just to make sure, because this is the big question in here. For example, okay, we can do this one. Let's try to have this. For example, label 2 dot caption equals to, simple as this. So this will try to move the cursor on the database, and it will show the next question on the database. Okay, so I'm going to run the program here. Next, see that it's good. I mean, there's no error in it without the if statement that I'm trying to do earlier. So this is a second question. I'm going to the third question and fourth question and fifth question. Okay, so we're already on the last question here. Nasa last question na tayo. Once I press the next button, what will happen after that? So what the program is trying to do here is to read the next data on the database, and if what will happen if there's no next data on the database, or what happen if you're at the end of your records. So let's try. You're going to have an error like this. Actually, this is not an error. This is a warning that you're on the end of your records and you're trying to move outside that. Nasa dulo ka na, gusto mo pang maghanap pa ng ibang data, which is hindi mangyayari. We programmer can read this kind of codes, but your user might not understand this one, and this is not a user-friendly dialog box for your users, no? So we need to create a message so that this error code will not be shown again. Okay, so that's why I told you earlier we're going to add a if statement here. So we're going to put in if rx dot eof means end of file. Okay, this will ask the question to your program that if your database is reading the data, if you're trying to read a database and you're at the end of the file, and this is what will happen. Okay, so so if rx.eof equals to false, okay, this means that if you're not at the end of the file, what will happen? If you're not at the end of the file, that means, so ibig sabihin na meron ka pang ipapakita. So here, if you're not at the end of the file, just show the next question. Okay? Else, if not, it means if you're not, if you're at the end of the file, it means that you cannot show any more questions or any more questions. So we're going to add a message box here and a question. Okay, so this will inform your user that they already are at the end of the question and they can go back if ever they want to go back. Okay, so we're going to end it here without having the dialog box, no debug dialog box. So because once they press the debug option, that will automatically close the program. So yun ang iniingatan natin dito. That's where what we're trying to avoid in this part. Okay, So let's try to run the program now. So first question, second question. I'm pressing the next button. Third question, fourth question, fifth question. Remember when I press the fifth, the button after the fifth question, we have that debug screen. This time, what we have here is a message box saying end of question. So once we press the OK button, I mean, the user can just continue to answer the question or to read the question. Okay. Okay. So this time we're going to put some code or commands inside the previous button because the previous button is not yet working on this part because we haven't put any commands yet, codes yet. Okay, so I'm going to double click the previous button here to put in the commands. Okay, so the command is just rx move previous. Then again, we're going to put in or to use an if statement because, for example, you're at the beginning of the question and you try to press the previous button. So your database cannot read any more. Cannot read any more data outside the first question. The first question would be the first question. Once you press the previous button, there's no first question after before the first question. So you're going to have an error, the same error that we debug error that we have earlier. So to avoid that, maiwasan natin yun, so we're going to put in rx dot kanina EOF, that is end of file, means none. This time we're going to use BOF, means beginning of file. Then table2.caption is equals to rx question. Rx is our connection to your table, and once we already access the table, we can now access what's inside the field, which is the question field. Then else message box, you can just type beginning of question and if. Okay, so this is for the previous button. Okay, so let's try to save it first. Run natin, no? Let's try to run. Okay, first question, what is the center of the solar system? So when I click next, it will go to the next question. And once I press the previous button, it will, why? We have an error. Why? This is good. At least we know we have an error. So let's try to close this one because we have an error because I haven't put something here. I need to put something here. So rx.bof is equals to false. Okay? So this means that if you're not at the beginning of the file, pag wala ka sa beginning of file, just continue showing what's inside the database. But else, if you're already at the beginning of the file, just show this message box here. Okay? Okay, that's good. So why I don't want to edit my videos. I want you to see the errors that I'm having so that at least next time that you encounter that error, you already saw that error, so you know how to cope with it. That's why I'm not cutting my videos at the middle. Hindi ko kinakat to, ayaw ko ng ganun. Okay? At the same time, nakita nyo kung paano ako mag-cope dun sa mga errors na nangyayari. So again, let's try to save this one and run the program. Again, the next question, the first question is, what is the center of the solar system? Once I press the next button here, I got the next question. So once I press the previous button, I should have, dapat makita ko yung first question ko kanina, which is what is the center of the solar system. I need to have that question, okay, once I press the previous button here. So let's try to press that. There you go. I have that question. So this is now a working program that can move from question to question or can move data from one data to another. Okay, trying to retrieve the data that's being saved on your database from one data to another. So again, I'm going to press the previous button here until I'm on the first question, which is this one. And once I press it again, I should have, I must have the message box. There you go, beginning of question. So all you need to do is just to click on the OK button, and there you go. You can still continue to um, navigate to what's inside your database by using this button, the next and previous button. Okay, and we have two more buttons here, the last and the first button. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to form. I'm going to code the last button here. So rx dot move last, and then wala nang ano to, if statement. We're not going to use any if statement here because the command is just move last. So after pressing move last, it will only show what is it, the last data inside the database. So there's no error after that. So just label to that caption is equal to rx question. Okay, and we're going to code the first button rx dot move first, and then label to that caption is equals to rx question again. Okay, so there you go. Let's try to run the program. Okay, once I press the last, okay, let's see what's the last question on our database by clicking next. Okay, the last question is, where is Mount Fuji located? The first question is, what is the center of the solar system? So once I press the first button here, it should, it must show what's the first question. Okay? That ang makita natin dito, yeah, what is the center of the solar system? So I'm going to press the first button here. There you go. What is the center of the solar system? So once I press the last button here, dapat ang makita ko, I need to see, the question that we need to see on this part is, where is Mount Fuji located? So I'm going to press the last button. There you go. So we have that. So after clicking the last button, so that is the last question. And once we press the next button, we're going to have the message box. Once we go to the first question and press the previous button, we're going to have again the message box. So there you go. And that is how you connect your database to your Visual Basic 6 on Windows 8.1 and view your records by having the previous, next, last, and first button to go around your data on your database, no? To retrieve your data on your database. So, again, I hope na may natutunan kayo sa video tutorial na to. I hope that you learned something on this one. Again, I'm saying that this video tutorial are just tools for us to learn something, and you still need a mentor or a teacher to guide you if you want to learn programming. Okay, um, you need to still go to your school and take your exams. Okay, but if you're already a graduate student and just want to learn new things, you can use these tools for you to be able to learn something and add or at least to see a live example or activity rather than reading a book. Okay? I hope na may ituan kayo. Again, this is Jason T. Asuncion. Kita-kita tayo sa next video. Mabuhay and God bless.